Hello Hashima, this video is for Monday, May 18th for math. Today we're going to be doing lesson 128, missing coordinates on geometric shapes. So what we're going to do today is build on what we did last week, which is take the coordinate grid and start to build points and then use those points to create lines. And in today's lesson, we'll be creating geometric shapes that you should recognize with pretty familiar attributes. So fact number one, I filled in for you here on your Google Slides. We can use the attributes of shapes to help us determine the missing coordinates. So when you know that you're making a triangle and you've got 2 out of the 3 points, you can use what you already know about triangles to figure out the coordinate that's missing on the x and y axis. So let me show you how you're going to do example A. This will be completed for you on Google Classroom, but just so you can see how I want you to drag each point onto the grid, hopefully this will help. So example A says that Ella starts to draw a rectangle on the coordinate grid. Her first 3 coordinate pairs are listed in the chart. What's Ella's 4th coordinate pair? Draw and label Ella's rectangle in the grid. So A, B, and C are given to us. So I'm going to take point A and drag it over to over 3, up 4. So that's going to go right here. So I'm going to release the dot, and there's my first coordinate. That's A. B is at 7, 4, so I'm going to go over to 7 on the x-axis and up to 4. Notice that points A and B make a horizontal straight line here, which you'll see connected in just a minute. Point C is at 7, 6, so same thing, over 7, up 6, drop it there. And then the last point is at 3, 6, which I figured out on my own, and I knew that it was going to be at 3, 6 because it had to have the same x coordinate as this first point A, and it has to have the same y coordinate as point C because it's going to make a straight line, because we know that rectangles have right angles. So I knew that this point had to be at 3, 6 so that it would line up with this point and this point. And let me drag this rectangle over for you so that you can see exactly how that works. Drop it there. And now you can see I have the fully completed rectangle. So I figured out this missing coordinate here by thinking about what I already know about rectangles, which is that they have right angles. I don't want to put the dot randomly like right there. Oops, sorry. Right there, because then it wouldn't make a rectangle. That's not a rectangle. It has to be lined up with the other points on the grid. You can either use your arrow keys or your mouse to just drag it where it should be. And there you go. All right, let me show you example B. So Paulina is drawing a regular hexagon. Remember, hexagons have 6 sides. She starts out by drawing the first 3 lines on the grid. We're going to finish her hexagon and mark the coordinate pairs. So I've got a hexagon ready to drop once I finish putting in the coordinates. And I've got one of the coordinates listed, and I went ahead and figured out what the remaining ones were. So if the first point, point A, is at over 3, up 2.5, that's going to put it right there. Point B, I figured out, has to be, if it's a regular hexagon, I'm going to put it at 5, 2.5. And then point C is at 5.5, 4, which means that if I need to put 2 more points here and here to make the top of the hexagon, I've got to use that same logic that I used in example A. I've got to drag so that it's on the same line as this one. And I want the distance to be equal to the distance between these 2 points. So if you look at the relationship here between these 2 points, you're going over 1, up 3, 1, 2, 3. So in order to make this point line up, it has to go over 1, up 3. So over 1, up 3, 1, 2, 3. And now I know it's in the right place. And then same thing with this other one. It has to be lined up with this one, and it has to be over 1 from this point here. So I'm going to drag it. So over 1, up 3, 1, 2, 3, drop it there. Sorry, May. Slightly off. Try to keep it as lined up as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect because this is on the computer. Normally we would be drawing this on paper and it's a little bit easier. I'm going to drop my hexagon on to make sure that the coordinates match, and they do. So there's my hexagon. It's even, it's regular, it matches. I've got all the coordinates listed in the chart. So what you're going to do is go through, are you ready? And work it out. And on each one, you're going to have some points that you need to drag onto the grid, some shapes that you can put on top, and then you're going to need to fill in the missing coordinates. And we'll go over this on Zoom. Hopefully it all makes sense to you, and If it's easier for you to draw out these grids on paper, if you have graph paper at home, that's fine. Otherwise, just use the drag and drop like I showed you in the video, and we will talk a bit later. Have a great day.